I have a dirty trick for setting up a scenario in my tabletop role-playing games that I really enjoy. It's a way to put a really fun situation in front of players, even if their characters are significantly powerful, and that's having them run into two bandits in the woods. So if they're wandering around in the woods, they're trying to stalk something out. Having two bandits hanging out in the woods, even when the characters are significantly more powerful than them, is a really fun scenario that gives a lot of agency to the players to decide how they want to navigate this. For example, if they just walk up and say howdy do and they alert those bandits might alert an entire camp to the fact that there are people wandering around in the woods. The characters can decide, you know what, we're just going to be really stealthy and assassinate those guys so they don't make any noise, and that can work. Or they could sit around and listen to what those bandits have to say and could learn interesting secrets and clues from the bandits as they're talking to them. So one of the interesting things you can do is have those bandits talking about the characters. That this is a way for you to be able to kind of show off the reputation that the characters have created by having the bandits talking about them. Hey, have you heard about those new adventures that just took over Summervine Villa? Yeah, I was actually going to go there and work for them, but I heard there was some creepy stuff going on in the basement. Next thing I know, there's a great big party, and then I heard there was a huge bloodbath, and now these characters suddenly own Summervine Villa. Isn't that wild? Yeah, except, you know, the characters tend to like go off and disappear for a while, but I know one of the people that works there. Maybe we could go sneak up there and rob the place while they're going. And now the characters are like, oh man, these two bandits are going to rob us. Like, man, that's interesting. Or like, wow, have you heard about the characters and what's going on? This is sort of the idea of like when the characters pick up newspapers and they read about their own adventures. But now you have two bandits that are hanging out in the woods that are talking about like, man, did you hear what happened to that? Yeah, that creepy cult got wiped out. Oh, I wonder who did that. So that way there's a way for the players to recognize that the world is changing based on their actions and the things that they've done. They're not operating in this completely myopic way where nobody actually has any understanding. And instead they could say things like, oh yeah, hey, I went to see that new show. They were doing a preview of a new show at the Theater of Whispers, and it was this crazy show about this, like, you know, this dragon warlord, this dragonborn warlord, and his love for his son, and his mother, his wife also loved the son, but they both pretended they didn't. And then, in order for him to show his strength to his lieutenants, he murdered his own son because it was his only weakness. And then his wife was so upset with this that she hired her ancient elven assassins to kill him and everyone else in the family so that the whole family would never be able to go for it. Man, it was depressing, but boy, it was really good, you know, and I never even heard this story before. And you're like, oh yeah, it was the characters who found that tale and brought it to the guy at the Theater of Whispers to tell the tale. So the characters are seeing the actions that they have done and how it's changing the world around them in this really fantastic situation where the players get to eavesdrop upon two, you know, scruffy bandits that are hanging around and whatever. And I'm talking about two bandits, but it could be anybody. It could be two cultists in the weird. It could be, you know, any, like two spirits having a conversation in an old haunted ruin. It could be two were-rats in an old den. Whatever, you know, just you can set up these encounters. And these encounters of just a couple of people talking is a really fun encounter because players know that they can probably take these guys out. Even a first level group can take out two bandits very easily. So it's a really, really low power combat group, but combat might still take place. And there might still be some like, well, I want to sneak up on them and I'm going to get just the right shot. Or, you know, I'm a really acclaimed archer. Is there a way for me to fire my bow and hit through the neck of one into the other and kill both with one shot? You're like, yeah, you can line it up. It'll be, you know, you'll be at disadvantage on the shot, but if you hit, it'll succeed. You can do stuff like that. But then also they might say, oh, well, I like these guys. Like, let's convert them to our side. Or maybe we'll pretend to be somebody else and we'll go have a talk with them. Or maybe we'll just sneak around them so that we don't alert them at all. So the neat thing about having them run into two bandits or any two kind of weak guard type creatures in any dungeon that you're running is it actually has a lot of different options for the players to decide how they're going to engage with it. You don't know how they're going to engage with it. The players won't know until they talk to one another and figure out what they want to do. Their motivations could change. But then the other dirty trick is we can have them talking about the characters and talking about the things that the characters have done and talking about the way the world worked. And it's really an excellent way to reveal secrets and clues, but it's also a way to show the players what repercussions have, what has happened in the world around them based on the action that they have. It's a really fun trick, very easy to do. You can drop it in almost any game, and it's a really fantastic way to show the breadth of the world, to show how the characters have been able to change that world, and to give the players a situation that they can navigate. That's a lot of fun for them to navigate because it gives them so much agency over their choices. If you enjoy enjoyed this show and you want to see more stuff like this, the best way to do so is to subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. You can find a link down in the show notes. It's absolutely free to sign up. You get a free adventure generator for signing up, and you get to see links to all of the other material that I publish all over the web in a newsletter that I publish every week. You can also become a patron of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tools, tricks, source books, adventures, and other things to help you run your games. You also get access to the incredible Lazy DM community over on our Discord server, and you can pick up any of my books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, The Lazy DM's Companion, The Lazy DM's Workbook, Forge of Foes, and much more at the Sly Flourish bookstore. The links for all of those are in the show notes. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play a RPG.